Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here, coming at you with a quick comparison of the Ruger Mark II versus the Ruger Mark III. So just kind of an overview on the two individual pistols I have today. They're both standard models. This one is from the 80s, I want to say the late 80s, and it's got the 4 3/4 inch standard tapered barrel. And this one is pretty new. I'm guessing 2016 because I just bought it. And it is also a standard model with a 6-inch tapered barrel. They both have the standard fixed sights. So very basic. The differences between the two specific models are the biggest difference is in the mag release. The Mark II has its mag release down here at the bottom like a European style, and the Mark III has it in the standard American spot, where it's just a button behind the trigger guard, which is where most Americans are used to having their mag releases. The magazines themselves are also different. The Mark III magazine obviously is going to have a little catch right here on the side of the magazine for the new mag release. The Mark II is just a smooth magazine all the way up. Also, I'm not sure if this is with all Mark II versus Mark III magazines. Actually, in fact, I know it's not. But the older magazines have a silver eagle, and the newer ones just have a black plastic eagle. It's also the same way with the triggers. The older ones have a silver trigger, and the newer ones have a black trigger. I don't think that's every single Mark II versus Mark III, but these two particular ones have a silver and a black trigger. Other differences, the Mark III has a loaded chamber indicator right here. It protrudes right there if the chamber is loaded. There is also a key lock right under the safety, so you can lock the pistol internally. That has been discontinued on the Mark IV, I think. I could be mistaken on that, but I'm pretty sure it has. Obviously, the Mark II does not have either of those features. The Mark II also does not have a magazine disconnect, whereas the Mark III does. If the Mark II had this kind of mag release, that would mean that the magazine would come out, would be a drop-free. Now, the Mark III, it's kind of interesting. Sometimes it is a drop-free, and sometimes it's not. See, like that time it was a drop-free, and that time it wasn't. So sometimes you can get it to drop-free, sometimes you can't. I found it to be, with this particular Mark III, to be about 50-50. But with the newer Mark IVs, you'll have drop-free capabilities all the time. Now, let's see here. Another difference is in the bolt ears. So on the Mark II, they're just kind of straight back. You can see like that. With the Mark III, they're tapered. So it's takes off a little bit of weight and bulk, and I guess it makes it a little easier to grab onto since it's tapered versus just straight back. The sights on the standard models are pretty much identical. Again, fixed sights. Obviously, if you have a target model or a hunter model or something, they're going to have adjustable sights and maybe even fiber optic sights. You can get all kinds of different sight options for both the Mark IIs and the Mark IIIs. Same with grips. This one originally came with black plastic grips, and I put these white plastic grips on it just for a little contrast. And by the way, that is another difference that I think probably is on all Mark IIs versus Mark IIIs is the grip screws. On the Mark IIs, they have flat heads, and on the Mark IIIs, at least all the Mark IIIs that I've seen, they have hex heads, like Allen head screws. So that's another difference. And one other difference, I'm not sure if all Mark IIs were like this, but as you can see here, on this side of the gun, there's no Ruger Medallion, and on this side there is. For some reason on the Mark IIs, or at least some of the Mark IIs, the Ruger Medallion is only on one of their grips. On the Mark III, it's on both sides, which is pretty cool. A lot of the Mark IIIs also have a red background on the medallion. The Mark II and a lot of the older pistols have a black background. That, I think, has something to do with, I think his name was Alexander Sturm, who was Bill Ruger's partner when they first started the company. Right after he died, it used to be a red eagle, and then they changed it to a silver eagle with a black background, or something like that. They've changed it a couple times over the years, but the black background with the silver eagle on the Mark II, I think, symbolizes respect for Alexander Sturm. I think that's what his name was. I could be mistaken on that. But anyway, those are all the differences that I know of between the Mark II and the Mark III. Again, this is just between the standard models, target models, hunter models. There may be some other differences that I'm not aware of, but that's the differences that I know of on these standard models. So anyway, subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.